Hello dear students. Today we are going to start our 16th practical of programming with Python. Okay, that is related to the exception handling. Okay, so we'll start our 16th practical. So we have to handle user defined exception for a given problem. Okay, so the practical significance is exception are uncovered error that can occur during a runtime of a program. The Python facilitates its developer to handle such exceptional cases which can avoid the abrupt termination of a program. One can create a user defined or custom exception by creating a new exception class in a Python. Exceptions need to be derived from the exception class either directly or indirectly. This practical will let students to write their own exception and avoid program from the abrupt termination. So these are the known program outcomes, that is basic knowledge, discipline knowledge, experiments and practices, engineering tools, ethics and lifelong learning. These are the what we can say practical outcomes. We are going to learn how to create a user defined exception for a respective problems. Okay, so the minimum theoretical background which is required to perform this practical is the Python has a many built-in exceptions which forces your program to output an error when something in it goes wrong. However, sometimes you may need to create custom exceptions that serves your purpose. A list of common exceptions that are these are now a use what we can say built-in exception, that is zero division error occurs when a number is divided by 0. Next is name error. It occurs when a name is not found. It may be local or global. Next is indentation error. If incorrect indentation is given. IO error. It occurs when input output operation fails. E of F error. It occurs when end of file is reached and yet operations are being performed. So in Python, users can use such define exceptions by creating a new class. This exception class has to be derived either directly or indirectly. From exception class, most of the built-in exceptions are also derived from this class. So for example, we are defining input age, okay, method. For this method we are trying to specify our user defined exception. So here we are specifying the age. Try whether assert int age is greater than 18. If it's not greater than 18, then it's going to return an error, that is insert integer value if the value is not specific. Okay, if else it's going to return you are adult. Okay, when you are going to execute it, when you are calling it print input age, that time you are specifying value 25, then it's specify that is you are adult. But when you are specifying same, you are calling same function with a character value, that is abc, at that time it's going to show you an value error, that is insert integer value. So that's way you can create your exceptions. Okay, you can handle it. In second example, so exception handling in Python, how it we are going to perform it. So see this, if the Python program contains the suspicious code that may throw the exception, we must place that code in the try block. We have to specify that code in a try block. Okay, the try block must be followed with the except statement, which contain a block of code that will be executed if there is some exception in the try block. So see this example here, a b and c. Here we are specified two variable which is collecting the integer value. After that we are divide them and store the result into the c variable. After that we are going to print the result of it. Okay, so when the exception occurs. It can't when we are dividing the value of a by using 0, so it the exception is occur. You can't divide by 0, okay, else it's hi I am else block, it's directly going to print. You can use else block also when you are passing two values 10 and 0, so it's directly showing you the error which you are specified in a except block, that is can't divide by 0. Like a way you can use else block too. So next is practical related questions. You have to state the exception, what is exception, and next is how to handle the exception in Python. In the exercise you have to prepare two programs, that is write a Python program to check for zero division error exception, and second one is write a Python program to create a user defined exception that will check whether the password is correct or not. So for these two programs you have to create an exception, user defined exception. So here your 16th practical